attempt to stabilize Nigeria's power sector, the presidency has started internal permission procedures to settle the 2 trillion naira legacy debt owed to energy-producing companies by the end of the upcoming quarter.
This much.
They said it's a general debt, not the president's.
But it is owed by the federal government. Okay, maybe let's just say the
federal government, exactly.
Yes, we are saying the same thing. Because all these federal government agencies, they all have their budgets. Is power
all part of it?
Part of the budget they have every
That's
year.
one question we need to ask them.
We need to energize this sector. Why should government agency be owing the power sector? I mean, it is unheard of because this is the reason why the sector is not working. So I now understand why, as the Yoruba would say, it is the one that you can overcome or overpower that you always go to. So the power sector or the power companies cannot hold the federal government responsible, or they can't hold the federal government, so they begin to hold
the consumers,
other consumers, and give them crazy bill and all that. The government, what the present government is doing, I think is good. At least agreeing that, okay, the government is owing you, we are going to pay a part of it cash, and then promissory notes and all that. Then this will give the power companies a challenge. Because if I'm owing you, I have no moral right to complain when you do something wrong.
This was revealed on Monday at the second Nigerian Electricity Supply Industry Stakeholders Meeting of 2025. It was organized by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and sponsored by the Special Advisor to the Presidency on Energy. In her opinion, the Presidency understands how urgent it is to remove the debt overhang, which has put pressure on GenCos and hindered the country's ability to produce power. She disclosed that because of the federal government's present financial limitations, other debt instruments are being investigated.
The federal government is set to pay 2 trillion out of 4 trillion naira owed to power generation companies by the end of the year. He reaffirmed the ministry's dedication to providing affordable electricity to Nigerians. He also appreciated the efforts of all departments and agencies within the power sector, saying that there are currently 33 power generating companies and 27 power plants operating in the country.
We understand the challenges the GenCos are facing, she stated. I can attest that the Coordinating Minister of the Economy and the Debt Management Office are on board with our endeavor to investigate alternative debt mechanisms. Internal approvals are being processed at the moment, stating that she hoped to have a clear update before the next quarterly NESI stakeholders meeting. But she did not provide a specific time frame. She also suggested that the progress could be reported in the next 3 months. The recent flooding in Mokwa, Niger State has taken the country by surprise as it swept heavily across town, leaving over 100 lifeless bodies. The victims of the tragedy in Mokwa, Niger State were reported to have lived in flood-prone areas and were caught off guard by the recent flooding disaster despite the official warnings, which according to the National Emergency Management Agency, they claim to have sent officials to 15 flood-prone states to further educate residents about the impending floods and the need to evacuate from flood-prone areas. The recent flooding in Mokwa, Niger State has taken the country by surprise as it swept heavily across town, leaving over 100 lifeless bodies. The victims of the tragedy in Mokwa, Niger State were reported to have lived in flood-prone areas and were caught off guard by the recent flooding disaster despite the official warnings, which according to the National Emergency Management Agency, they claim to have sent officials to 15 flood-prone states to further educate residents about the impending floods and the need to evacuate from flood-prone areas as it swept heavily across town, leaving over 100 lifeless bodies. The victims of the tragedy in Mokwa, Niger State were reported to have lived in flood-prone areas and were caught off guard by the recent flooding disaster despite the official warnings, which according to the National Emergency Management Agency, they claim the 15 states include Kogi State, Imo State, Enugu State, Adamawa State, Taraba State, Borno State, Zamfara State, Katsina State, and the Federal Capital Territory. According to Manzo Ezekiel, the head of NEMA's press unit, he bemoaned the fact that a large number of flood victims on the 23rd of May had constructed their homes in a flood-prone area. More than 200 people were killed in the flood in Mokwa, a commercial center in Niger State, and hundreds more were reported missing. Nigeria's rainy season typically lasts from April to October, so the Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicted strong storms for Abuja and 14 of the 36 states in the country, including Niger.
Thank you very much. We are back at the scene of the flood disaster in Mokwa. Particularly, we are at Angwan Hausawa, where hundreds of persons were said to have lost their lives and thousands of people displaced from their homes. This morning, what we see happening is that a list of all of those affected is being taken as, non-governmental organizations, individuals are reaching out to these people. Particularly, we have a non-governmental organization on site, the Aspire Alliance, that is reaching out to these people to support them. It's important for us to understand that the situation in Mokwa requires collective efforts, not just the government alone. Individuals that have the wherewithal can actually come in and support these people as they grapple and struggle to put their lives together. So I have a team lead of the Aspire Alliance, Mr. Aliu Aruna, to tell us more about what they are doing. Good morning, Mr. Aliu Aruna. What exactly is happening?
Good morning. We are actually here on site to get collation of numbers and physical list of people that are physically present on site that have been affected by this flood disaster. Thereby, after which we will be able to start the distribution of items we have come along with. Items comprising the food, clothing, foodstuffs, mosquito nets, and of course, since the Salah is here, we have it in the spirit of Salah to slaughter cow for the general victims of this flood incident, as you can see over there. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Aliu. Yeah, you've heard, tomorrow is Salah, and a majority of the people here are Muslims, and they're looking forward to celebrating, Salah, even as they mourn their losses. In the meantime, we've also seen that rescue operations is still ongoing, as we see excavators trying to dig to see if there are still people buried under the rubble.